Hello and welcome back. I am excited to have a beautiful guest with me. I've got Alexis Jane here. She's also fondly known as Lexi. She is a powerhouse manifesting leadership coach. She's dedicated to helping entrepreneurs unlock their inner goddess, own their power, and lead with ease, one of my favorite words. And with a unique blend of strategy, mindset mastery, and energy alignment, Lexi guides business owners to double their income while embodying confidence and flow. Her signature programs like CEO Elite and Easepreneur are designed to amplify sales, leadership identity, and abundance activation. Lexi's mission is simple yet profound: to help leaders create empires with ease, fun, and feminine magic, all while embracing their limitless potential. Hello, Lexi. How you doing?
I am amazing. Thank you, Miriam. How are you?
Good, good. Great to see you. Always love chatting to you. We have a lot of fun. All right, let's get into it. I want to ask you, first of all, what does success mean to you? I know you have a ripping business. You help people create ripping businesses with great income and cash flow. But beyond financial metrics, what does success mean to you?
Such a great question. It always makes me giggle, this question, a little bit, because I asked someone a couple of years ago, what does success mean to them? And they got really offended and said, that's a very personal question. I was like, oh, I've never had that response before, but okay. What does success mean to me? So over the years from building my business, I always thought that success meant the money in your bank account. And as you know, my story, you know, everything about me is that I always created an identity around what was in my bank account compared to what wasn't in my bank account. And as the years have gone on with the work that I've been doing and the transformations that my clients get, and witnessing and watching not only that their money grows, but it's also the life that they've created and the fun and the laughter and the joy that is in one's life and going on adventures. And so success to me is really being able to be present in the moment and not having any stress around what's coming next. What do I need to do next? What happened in the past? What did I do that was wrong? You know, releasing and letting go of all of that noise and really just being in the moment and being present. And I was talking to a girl on Saturday who's also in the online space, and she's like, well, we better take a photo. We'd been jibber jabbering for an hour and a half. And we're like, we always forget to take photos. I'm like, yeah, because we're just so present in the moment. We're not, well, we need to share this information with people. We need to do this, we need to do that. It's like, okay, we're here in the now. And so that to me is success. It's no longer about the big money, the big materialistic things and all of that, as much as that is fun and amazing to attract into one space, but it's more about being with the people that you're with.
Yeah. And it's nice not to have to worry about the money, right? Because that enables that you to be really present and be in the moment. And it was funny how you shared that story about being with your friend and like talking for ages. I do that all the time where, you know, I'll spend time with somebody, or I'll literally spend a week somewhere really beautiful, come home and go, oh shit, didn't take a single photo, because I'm just enjoying it. And I think there's also something about just keeping it precious and for yourself. Like not everything has to be an Instagram moment, and not everything has to be, oh, this would make some really good promo for my business. I should take some, you know, video here. It'll make some great reels, B-roll, and yada, yada, yada. Like just to actually switch off and live and enjoy your life. I think it's just such a cool place to be. Do you do that as well, where you just go away and then you come back and you go, well, I could have, should have, but I didn't?
Yeah, one of my favorite places to go is places that doesn't have internet, so that you have to completely disconnect. And I just always leave my phone at home because I'm like, what's the point of taking my phone because there's no internet? So being in that moment. And where was I the other day? Someone was handing out the old school clicky cameras, the disposable cameras. I was like, oh my God, how much fun is that? Like, that is fun. You remember to take photos when you have the disposable cameras, because you can't actually see. It's really funny watching people go, you can't see what the photo looks like, but that's the whole point.
Yes, exactly. Can't practice my poses and then, you know, delete the 19 that I don't like and just keep that one. Sucked in. Are you old enough that you used to like get the photos printed and then get doubles so you could like give some to your parents? Do you remember that? Yeah.
I most certainly do. Yes. Yeah, hilarious. And you don't remember what you've taken photos of, and it comes back and it's like, what was happening here?
What is going on? And this is why I think as 80s kids, particularly, we have so many really embarrassing photos, because until they came back, we didn't know how bad we looked.
Yep.
I've got this little collection going of all the big fringes and the curly hair and the big shoulder pads. People just started finding all these photos, sending them to me. So I've got a little collection on the fridge now for all my most embarrassing 80s dress up moments. I thought I looked very cool and gorgeous at the time, I'm sure.
You certainly did.
Oh yes, I was very hot. Not okay. Back on topic, alignment. So I want to talk to you about alignment, because you're somebody who's so in the flow in your business. When I talk about alignment and alignment in business, and like actually making sure that, number one, you feel aligned with how you do business, but that you also bring it into your everyday, is that something you consciously think about? And like, what does alignment even mean to you, and what does it feel like?
Such a great question. So alignment is really getting clarity for what it is that you truly deeply want, and then getting the wobbles out that no longer serve you. So we decide what we want to have, and then there's all of these fears, excuses, limiting beliefs to why we can't have the thing. So when we get really super clear on what it is that we truly deeply want, and then understand all the underlying bullshit stories that we tell ourselves, and remove that, and then go, okay, well, what's the next step that's going to get me closer to that? And I was saying to you before we jumped onto the call, I do this intentionally every single day. So I have my little diary. You can't see it because I've got a blurred background. Every time I pick it up, you can't see it. It's this tiny little journal that I take everywhere, and I journal all of the things that I'm grateful for, and the things that I want to be bringing into my world, and the intention. And when I was driving this morning to go out to breakfast, I was like, I signed a client today. This is good fun. Today's going to be a really good day. And I just get into this flow of a riff, a gratitude situation. And then it's kind of like, what's the next step? What's the next step? And then I just completely release it and let it go. And then I, again, was present at breakfast, and I got a message from someone going, oh, I really need to work with you. I'm ready. Do you have time to jump onto a call today? So we can get that all set up? And I was just like, well, of course you are. Of course that happened. And so the more that we get into the flow of knowing what it is that we want, and moving towards that without judgment, without story, without any of the BS, you follow the breadcrumbs of what is that next step, or what is that next thing to be doing.
Yeah. So you kind of follow the energy and follow what feels good, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. What about like the way you actually show up and run your business? Where does alignment come into that for you? Like, are you somebody who really thinks about it, or does it just happen for you naturally that you won't do things that don't light you up?
When I do things and attempt to be in control of all of the things, that's when everything gets stuck and nothing moves. But I do have a pretty solid morning routine where I'm up early, I go for a walk, or I go to the gym, I journal, I have my coffee, and there's, routine is the word I'm looking for. There's routine that I have pretty much most mornings. Some mornings I'll just, if my body's saying, no, you need to stay in bed, I will stay in bed. And I've had to work really hard to remove you need to get out of bed, you need to do this. If, even if you don't feel like doing it, do it. But when I've pushed myself to do things that I haven't felt like doing in the morning, my whole day goes to shit, because I hadn't listened to what my body actually needs. So the more in tune you are with your body, and the more in tune you are with your goals and your bigger dreams, you start getting into flow. But it's like a new muscle to build. So if you don't understand any of this, you don't really understand alignment. I didn't really understand alignment or getting into flow. Like, what the fuck does getting into flow even mean? And but it's taking the actionable steps. So if you're thinking about manifestation or getting into alignment or doing it, there is actionable steps that go with it. It's not just sitting there in meditation, or just journaling out stuff and going, oh, things are going to happen. Things happen really super fast in my world, because every single day, it's a muscle that I'm building, like when you go to the gym to build a muscle. So when it comes to getting into flow throughout my day, it's just, if I know something's not working and it's icky, I'm like, okay, let go. Just stop doing any of the things. Go do something else and come back. Generally, my go-to rule is, it's either go for a run or get into bed and go to sleep. They're my two things that go.
Opposite ends of the spectrum.
Yep.
I love it. I love it. I love it. So, okay. So, what I heard is you have a routine and it's all about getting in alignment, in flow, first thing in the morning, but also being really present with what you need and what your body needs. And so, it sounds like you have, like, a bit like me, I have like a list of things. There's a couple of things that I tend to do religiously, but I also like to mix it up. Are you a bit like that as well?
Yeah. Yeah. And it really depends, because we're human. We're not, we don't just, like, we're not a tree. There's movement for what we do. And we're not always going to want to sit down, or we're not always going to, there's the other day, that was last night, I was really, really, really unsettled. And I knew that it was coming up to getting into bed at some point, but I was just like, okay, I'm going for a walk. I'm like, I can't sit still. I'm going for a walk. So I went for an hour walk and came home. But I knew that my body was physically tired, but I was pacing around the house and nothing was settling me. So I went for a walk. And so it's about, the more you, and this is what I learned from Bob Proctor, the more you know you, the more you can understand other people, and the more that you can understand the way that you do life and what it is that you need. So being able to tune into your inner self, what is going to support me right now? What is going to fill my cup up? What is going to move me forward for that next thing? And so last night it was movement, and it was a gentle walk. It wasn't a crazy sprinting walk like I normally do. I didn't even crack a sweat. My friend did. He's like, for us. I'm like, that was a stroll, because it's what I do. But it's, yeah, the more you understand yourself, and being able to talk to people. So I always work with coaches. I've always got a coach in my world that I'm working with, whether it's in marketing, whether it's in energetics, whether it was working with you, and I did years ago, or having those people that are in your space, like, this is how I'm feeling. How do you help me shake out of it? Because even though when we see, everyone has got something that's going on, and we need that extra support to be able to move through it. And I don't think it's just I need to do this alone situation.
Definitely not. Like, we all need someone who can see what we can't see, because when you're in the middle of it, you can't. And especially once you start going down a bit of a spiral, you go unconscious and you just can't see the bigger picture. But there was something you were saying before that I think is worth kind of pointing out as well. And it's a muscle, right? And so that muscle of alignment, getting in alignment, knowing when you're not, being able to quickly, like, fix it, which sometimes means just give the hell up and go to bed, try again tomorrow. That also really speeds up that process of manifestation, and that process of clearing out, any limiting beliefs and bullshit old stories that get in the way. Like, it just accelerates and you just get better and better and better at it. And I find that sometimes I don't really even think about it because it's so second nature. But did you find that, like, along the way, that it really started speeding up?
Yeah, it's funny because I was thinking about this the other day. So when I first started my business, I didn't really know too much about manifestation. I knew about it. I'd heard about it. And when I first started my business, within the first, I think, 2.5 weeks, I did $15,000. It was too fucking easy. So then I made it hard for myself, because then I was like, oh, I'm not manifesting right. I'm not doing the things right. It's like,
I haven't ticked everything on the list yet.
Yeah.
Hold the money for a moment. I just got to finish ticking off everything on my list. Okay. Yeah.
Exactly. And it was just like, and then I was like, oh, what? That was too easy. Everyone's told me that it's hard to make money, but that was easy. How is it hard? So then I had this internal battle of making it hard. And then I made it hard like for a really long time. And when we started working together, you're like, this is what you need. I'm like, okay. Within 24, 48 hours, I'd had the money. You're like, how the hell do you do that? I'm like, because you told me what I needed. So I went and got it. And it's having that clarity and understanding. Like, I didn't understand money. I didn't understand how to manage money. And I knew how to bring a whole lot of money in, but I didn't know how to hold that money and manage the money on the back end. It was like, okay, my belief that I had was, if I have money in my bank account, someone's going to steal it. If I have money in my bank account, someone's going to need it. And it's something that it's a muscle to build, but it's also, again, coming back to the more that you understand yourself, the more that you can understand what your limiting beliefs are. And it's having that awareness of, like, if I get cranky or annoyed, I pull myself back. I'm like, oh, I think I'm cranky or annoyed. And everyone around is like, we hadn't noticed. But it's, being able to pull yourself out and being responsible for yourself and responsible for your actions and responsible for the way that you're feeling. Because every decision and every moment leading up until now, you have created. And so you can create something different. You can create something new. And it's about what is that new thing that you want to be creating. You can either sit there and woe is me, bullshit story, or you can go, actually, if I can manifest being broke and poor, I can manifest being rich and abundant.
Yeah. And you're great at it either way.
Exactly.
And I always say to people, you're a bloody powerful manifester. Be careful where you point that thing. It's like you've got this big laser gun and you choose what you do with it, And speaking of Bob Proctor, I always remember him saying, it's like you can use electricity to cook a steak or to cook a person. Like it's just a tool. Okay, that's very graphic. I'll remember that for a long time. Thank you.
It's very graphic. That's really funny, but it is. And like this whole manifestation world and getting into alignment, like it can be quite confusing, and there's so much information out there on how to do it, but it's about simplifying it, make it simple. And one of my clients started with me a year and a half ago, and his sales process was, we have a call, a week later we have another call, a week later we do, and I'm like, why the fuck is it taking you so long to do a 10K sale? Like, it should happen instantaneously. Now we've got it down to 2 days, thank God. And he's like, that was so easy. I'm like, yeah, I don't understand why you're wasting so much time. Like, simple. Like, you're giving them too much stuff, and it was becoming overwhelming. So by the time the sale came, they're like, we don't need it anymore because you've given us enough.
Yeah. And you've dragged it out so long, I've talked myself out of it.
And I'm bored.
I'm bored. Yeah, exactly. Well, that's what happens to me. Like in business, I've realized that I need to move fast and keep things short, sharp, and shiny. Keeps me excited, keeps my energy high, and keeps me interested. So that's another question I have for you. Like, we've talked about money and the importance of, organizing your money really well and feeling empowered and confident around that, and how that really supports your energy around calling it in. What about when it comes to getting shit done in your business? Because I know you have some really full days. How do you keep yourself in flow and make sure that you stay focused and not kind of burn yourself out so that everything turns to crap?
Yeah. So generally Tuesday, Thursdays are my 2 big days of phone calls. And so I'm prepped and I'm ready. And I've worked out that the less food I eat on those 2 days, the more energy that I have, because if I'm having a heavy meal, it makes me tired. But I also don't take a phone call after 2 p.m. Most days I'm not on a phone call after 2 p.m. And that just helps me settle down. I close my computer and I just really disconnect from it. So we don't need to be working all day, every day. And it's the laser focused time that we put into it. So generally I'll sit down if I'm not on a phone call and do a good hour of laser focused stuff. Sometimes it's only 15 to 20 minutes of laser focus, and I get so much stuff done, and I've pre-set all of my posts, or I've got them somewhere so I can just cut and paste and put them in later. So I don't have to think that there's the more that you're organized and you get rid of all of the other decision-making stuff that needs to be made. It's just like, okay, like I literally have 3 tops, 4 jackets, and like 3 pairs of pants. So I don't never have to think about what am I going to be wearing today, or, limiting the decisions that need to be made, because the more we limit the decisions, the easier things are flowing. So I love getting everything done first thing in the morning. So then it's just done for the rest of the day. And then I don't need to think about it. And I'm like, okay, then now I can relax. So today I've gone for my walk. I've dropped Mum to the hospital, been to breakfast. I've come home. I've done some work. I'm on the phone call with you. I'll do something after this. I'm going out to lunch. Then I'm meeting up with somebody else. And then I've got a sales call this afternoon. But everything is in flow, and it's not, people go, aren't you tired by the end of the day? And it's like, well, no, because I've made sure that my energy is right. So I've got no more decisions to make. Everything's done. Nothing's in the back of my head going, oh shit, I haven't done that, or I haven't done that. It's like, it's done. So, the more organized and disciplined you are in the morning to set your day up solidly, it keeps you energized, because you know what's coming next. And you also have, if there is a surprise, something that drops in, you can handle it, because you're not thinking, shit, that's going to chew up time that I need to be doing blah.
Yeah, because that decision fatigue and that constantly going, oh, should I be doing that? Should I be doing that? It's wearing, it's tiring, and it pushes our energy down, and then we're not as in alignment, and then it just goes on to this negative spiral. And yeah, I used to always joke and go, there is not a more effective half hour in my entire week than that half hour before I have to go to school pickup, because that's when you go, shit, I've got half an hour and I've actually got this really important thing that has to get done. And you just get it done, and you might have procrastinated all day and not gotten around to it. But then it's like, all right, just get stuck in. So if we can find ways to harness that energy of being hyper productive and actually focusing on what really matters, we definitely don't need to be sitting at our desk slogging away. It is about simplifying and cutting out those decisions, having the systems, and then knowing yourself as well. It's funny how you go, I don't work past 2:00. I always say I'm only really any good between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. Like, that's my zone.
Yeah.
That's when I'm switched on and my brain's really into it. Before that, I'm still asleep. And after that, I'm like ready to be done for the day. But 10 till 2, that's my zone. Watch me go. Hilarious.
Yeah, I love that. And talking about burnout and decision-making, if you're also not charging the right amount of money for your service and you're giving too much, you're going to feel burnout. You're going to feel energetically exhausted. You're going to feel so tired throughout the day because you're like, I'm giving, and I'm not receiving enough. It's like, okay, well, you have to strip it back and go, okay, well, where are my boundaries? What are my standards? Where am I not in alignment with myself? Because if you're charging too less, you're just always going to feel like you're doing so much stuff without the reward. And then you like sit there and you're exhausted at the end of the week. Like, I know my price points are absolutely spot on now. And all of the clients that I work with never go over the boundaries. Sometimes I'll say, can I ask you a question if it's on the week? And I'm like, of course you can. I just might not answer it for a couple of hours, depending on what time you send it through. But, everyone has a respect. So the more that you respect yourself and you create those standards and disciplines, the more that other people are going to respect that, which means that you're not going to go into burnout because you've decided and you've created how you want to live life.
Yeah. Awesome. Very good. And the thing is that, one thing I bang on about is just stop thinking of hourly rates. Like, you are not an hourly rate. You're not punching a time card at a factory. There is so much work involved in delivering a service behind the scenes that's got nothing to do with the client-facing time. And that amount of work is pretty much the same, no matter what you charge for your service. So when you get that wrong, for starters, you're stuffed, but also you attract the wrong sorts of clients if you're undercharged. And that's a whole other problem in itself.
That's a whole other conversation.
That's a whole other conversation. All right. But we're going to wrap it up because I want to, we've dropped in so many good pearls. And so I want to make sure we finish on those and have people really take them away. But I have one final question for you. And that is, if you had a billboard at your disposal, what message would you put on it?
That is a fun question. Well, the first thing that just popped into our head, because it's what I talk about all the time, is the more that you spoil yourself, the more the universe will spoil you back.
Love that. That's a great message. Love that, love that, love that. All right. Thank you so much for joining me. Before I say goodbye, just let people know how they can get in touch with you if they want to find out more and have a chat.
So you can come and find me over on Facebook. That's where I hang out the most. Send me a direct message and let me know that you heard me on Miriam's show. And I would love to have a chat if you want to have a chat. I do have a link tree link somewhere on Facebook or Instagram that you can go and check out all of my things. And if you want to check out my website, it is thealexisjane.com.
Well, it's been awesome having you, the Alexis Jane. Always a total pleasure. Thanks for coming on the show. We'll talk again soon.
Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day.